Hey guys, there's something major we need to unpack. Justin Baldoni is facing yet another lawsuit. And yes, Blake Lively is right in the middle of it all. We're about to go through exactly what's happening with this latest legal drama and what's recently been said about Justin. But before diving into all the details, let's talk about what to do when life completely throws you off track. If you've been seriously hurt and don't know where to begin, Morgan & Morgan could be the help you didn't know you needed. As the largest personal injury firm in the US, they've made it incredibly easy to turn a tough situation into something manageable. Becoming their client? It's honestly simple. I used to assume that getting legal help meant tons of stress, high costs, and complicated steps. But Morgan & Morgan changed that for me. They've helped over 3 million people involved in accidents. And truthfully, one of the smartest moves you can make after an accident is to get legal representation. They've recently secured big verdicts for victims of life-changing car crashes. And here's the kicker. If they don't win for you, you don't pay them a dime. You can handle everything from your phone. Seriously. Case details, signing forms, uploading medical documents, it can all be done from your mobile. You'll even be able to text directly with your attorney and legal team while your case is active. Your case could potentially be worth millions, and you're just a few taps away from starting. Or scan the QR code right on your screen. Huge thank you to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video. All right, let's get into the story. Before we dive deep into the new case, let's look at how Justin's team has responded to the lawsuit from Blake Lively, especially now that they're pushing back on her actions against content creators. Justin's legal team, along with reps for Jamie Heath, Steve Sowitz, and others from Wayfarer Studios, recently fired back at Blake's move to lift confidentiality on responses from the PR firm Tag. Blake claims these responses could expose a hidden effort involving Justin, Tag, and Jennifer Ale to damage her reputation through media manipulation. But Justin's team flat out denies that. They say there's zero evidence to support her theory and insist that any public backlash Blake has gotten is due to her own decisions, like issuing subpoenas to platforms including Google, TikTok, and X to go after creators who mentioned her. They emphasized that Tag wasn't even on board until after the backlash had already begun. While denying any smear campaign, Jennifer and her legal team did agree to release the documents to avoid unnecessary tension, with one request. Blake needs to stop calling the campaign untraceable. In a formal letter, Justin's attorneys wrote, open quote, "According to Blake's filing, her entire argument hinges on this idea that Wayfair launched a covert smear campaign, using unnamed sources to paint her as the bad guy to the global media," close quote. They went further, stating, open quote, "Labeling this so-called campaign as untraceable makes no logical sense, especially since she knows exactly which articles and reporters she's upset with. It also weakens her attempt to use the court system to chase something that's not even hidden," close quote. Their point? After months of investigation, countless documents, and a long list of subpoenas, Blake still hasn't found any proof of a coordinated smear job, just a PR mess that may be of her own making. In fact, Tag wasn't even hired until early August 2024, so the claim that they flipped public opinion against her in a matter of days, it doesn't add up. Blake's refusal to accept that the backlash may have been organic has led her to blame Tag without solid evidence. Her motion also claims that people mentioned in the legal discovery spoke against her because of Tag and Wayfarer, but ignores the fact that those names were listed simply because Tag communicated with them, not because they directed them to speak. Justin's team says none of that amounts to a smear campaign. And here's something important. Tag didn't even speak to creators about the case until 2025, and only when they were contacted for statements. Their message is clear. The backlash Blake is dealing with, that's on her, especially after sending out subpoenas to social platforms demanding personal information from users. And let's be honest, not all of them are content creators. Some are just average people with opinions. The legal letter adds, open quote, "If only legal teams are seeing the interrogatory responses, how could they possibly influence public opinion?" The real spark behind the backlash seems to be the subpoenas Blake's lawyers sent to Google, TikTok, and X, demanding everything from phone numbers to financial data on specific individuals. Close quote. According to one report, if Blake hoped public opinion would turn in her favor because of her case against Justin, that plan might have backfired, especially after people found out she went after YouTubers supporting Justin. And here's the thing, out of all the names mentioned, only one appears in those subpoenas. So the backlash, likely not caused by anything Justin's team did. Justin's lawyers argue that if Blake's side had just continued talking with them, instead of making the whole thing public, none of this legal back and forth would have been necessary. They end their letter by saying Blake's filing doesn't even reference legal precedent and seems more like a move to pin the PR nightmare on someone else. In other words, this is your mess, not ours. And as if that wasn't enough, Justin is now facing another legal battle. This time, it's his own insurance company, Harco National Insurance, going after him and his production company, Wayfarer Studios. Harco argues that they're not responsible for covering Justin's legal fees tied to the Blake case, which could leave him having to cover all the costs himself. Not a small burden, considering how messy things already are. Harco claims that Wayfarer was aware of at least one internal complaint and didn't disclose it, something that could have influenced their insurance decision. Filed on July 21st, the lawsuit says Wayfarer had two policies running from July 2023 through 2025. But the harassment allegations Blake is making go back to April-June 2023, before coverage started. They even point to an email from Blake's legal team in November 2023 as evidence Wayfarer was aware of the claims and still didn't inform Harco. Then in July 2024, when they renewed their policy, Wayfarer allegedly claimed they had no known legal issues, despite earlier demands from Blake's team and a January 2024 meeting where harassment was again brought up. That omission could void their coverage. Harco's attorney, Evan Shapiro, says that's exactly why they're seeking to cancel the policy. If they succeed, Justin and Wayfarer could be left with a massive six-figure legal bill and the responsibility to fight multiple lawsuits alone. It's a lot, and the financial pressure might force someone to settle, even though neither side seems ready to back down. We'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out. For now, that's where things stand on Justin's side of the story. I'd love to hear what you all think. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.